The following is a presentation of Muddy River Sports.
Well, I'm feeling very Olympic today, and I guarantee you are too, right, Caren Kemner?
A couple days out, I'm going to feel really Olympic.
This is awesome. It is Olympic week. Opening ceremonies at the end of this week, and this is Schuck on a Truck, brought to you by Schuck Toyota. I'm Muddy River Sports editor Matt Schuckman with my favorite Olympian of all time, Caren Kemner. Hi, babe.
Hello.
How are you today?
Good. Thanks for letting me do this.
Oh, this is awesome. Thanks for taking the time to do it.
Yep.
We are, obviously, we can talk about a myriad of things. Obviously, your new position at QU, and we'll get to some of that. But the Summer Olympics start this week.
Yep.
Okay, one of my favorite movies is a Winter Olympic movie, Cool Runnings, the Jamaican bobsled movie.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite lines from that is, "I'm feeling very Olympic today."
Yeah.
What does it feel like to be Olympic?
Oh, gosh. You know, once every 4 years, you get that special feeling. And it's like when you and I were talking on the phone the other day.
Yeah.
And I said, Matt, what month is it? Because I've been just so engrossed in my new job, I kind of forgot about it. And you're
Right.
like, well, Caren, the Olympics. I'm like, that's right. It's 10 days off.
Yeah.
It's like I have a calendar in my life that kind of kicks in every 4 years. And I know exactly where I'm at, what I'm doing. It's special. You know, whether you're post-Olympic like myself
Yeah.
or get excited for the young kids that, you know, most likely have already been in Paris for about maybe 5 days.
Right.
I would guess they're
Yeah.
in about a 15-day window out from the Olympics, and you just get excited for them.
Yeah.
And then as it gets closer and closer, like each Olympics is so different. The opening ceremonies tell such a story
True.
about what you're hopefully going to see and what you're going to experience. And I always think that is I get goosebumps because it's really the moment when it all starts to come together. Like everything else in the prior 4 years is just a build up until this, you know, spectacle of literally 10 days, 12 days,
Yeah.
where
however long
everybody
it-
watches your every
Right.
movement.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful feeling. It's great to say that had the opportunity to go 3 times.
Yeah. Now I know some athletes, and we've heard this over the years, not every single athlete that represents their country participates in the opening ceremonies for whatever reason. We've seen that a few times here or there. You did in all 3 of yours, didn't you?
I did. There are some sports, and you and I've talked about this in the past, where they've already received their gold medal before the torch is even lit.
Right.
It just depends on their events.
Yes.
There could be events like going really early the next morning, so instead of having them out in the heat, you know, because the opening series are usually in the evening, and depending on where it's at, it can get really warm.
I can imagine.
With all those people crowded into one place, so they may elect not to participate that. There's also sports that are further away from the opening ceremonies. It could be a whole different city, which I'm sure in Paris this year there's going to be like equestrian way out somewhere.
Right.
Or rafting, you know, things like that.
Because not everything takes place in the Olympic Stadium
Nope.
or the nearby arenas.
Correct.
I mean, we've seen that where they go to different parts of the country.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
to take care of their specific event. Certainly that we've seen that a lot with Winter Olympics because of the mountains and everything that's necessary for that. But it also takes place with the Summer Olympics. So
Correct.
it's, as much as Olympic Village is its own unique place, there are people
All over
shooting
the
off.
place. Yeah.
You
I mean,
know.
I think sometimes it's unfortunate for those athletes because they don't get to partake, especially what takes place in the Olympic Village, which is really special for the athletes. But at the same time, there's also this beauty that comes to a little bit of the segregation aspect because they can focus in strictly on what they got to do and don't get caught up in all the pageantry, I guess is the best word that goes with it, and the hustle and bustle, the traffic, you know, things that just kind of get in the way in the coordination of it all.
As we get closer to this weekend and the opening ceremonies and everything, the cool thing I think they're doing this year is they're doing the opening ceremonies a little different. Normally you have the procession into Olympic Stadium. They're doing the procession down the Seine River.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know what it's going to look like. I keep seeing advertisements and stuff talking about it. So they're going to do so. I don't know if they're putting them on barges or boats.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what they're doing. I'm anxious to see what it's going to look like.
I bet you it's a logistical nightmare.
It's got to be, doesn't it?
A security nightmare too at that.
But how cool? Like if they line the river with fans.
That's great.
And you're
And
representing.
that's what's cool about it.
Yeah.
Every Olympic hosts city, country does it so different.
Yeah.
And it's always kind of intriguing, like especially the lighting, the lighting of the torch.
Yes.
It's always somebody significant that, as an athlete, I remember when Muhammad Ali lit the torch in '96. Just standing there and seeing this legendary athlete.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah, you don't, and most people don't get to walk in that space and say that was a special moment, and that really was.
Do you have a favorite moment or a favorite city or of the 3 Olympics you were part of? Or were you so focused on what task at hand that it's
a combination. I was thinking about that this morning when I was driving in. Like, what if Schuck asked me this question? Like, it's truly a balance, like, of containing your excitement but allowing yourself free enough to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the focus is intense.
Yes.
But I think my favorite, if I were to look at all the Olympics, I mean, obviously '88 was special because it was my first.
Yes.
So I was wide-eyed and wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
'92, much more focused. At that time, we were, one of the top teams in the world.
Right.
And Barcelona did a wonderful job hosting that Olympics.
Right.
Atlanta, it was special because I was at home.
Right.
Where my entire family could come down. So each of them went various routes.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one, like I said, I was kind of a newbie.
Yeah.
And just really took it all in and just was, this is what the Olympics are like, coming from Quincy, like this small town, and suddenly you're thrust into an event that's just massive.
Yeah.
And you just half the events I didn't even know what they were, because I just never paid attention as a kid. But by the end in '96, I think what made it so special, that one will always stand out, was just having my family there and having the ability for them to witness it firsthand.
To see you on a world stage.
Yeah.
It's easy for us to sit here and talk and do all those things. You were on the world stage, and for your family to sit there and watch that.
Isn't that crazy?
It's so cool, though.
It is.
It is.
It's cool. And I've told you this before. I jokingly laugh when I have bad days. I remind myself, I was one of the best in the world at a time, so today's going to be okay.
Literally the best in the world at one point in time.
Yeah.
Named the best player in the world at one point in time.
Yeah. So it's
but you're Caren Kemner. like that's okay, for those of us who have known you for so long. Yep. That's what it is. You're Caren Kemner. I mean, yeah, you were legendary Caren Kemner in some circles, but you're still Caren Kemner.
Yeah, it's like some people, I don't know, like I love the fact that I can say that I'm Olympian.
Yeah.
But it's something I did, and now I look at it as a part of me of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the primary thing.
Yeah.
It's just that honor of saying I had the ability and the wherewithal to be able to do this, and I'm very honored for that.
No question. No.
And it's cool to come from a small town.
Oh yeah, it's cool. It's cool to for me to sit here and go, hey, I know an Olympian. But it is. I mean, granted, in my career, I've had the opportunity to get to know people of every pro, amateur, famous, non-famous, the gamut. And at the end of the day, and I think this may hold true, especially in the Olympic Village, and you may be able to speak on that. Still people.
Yeah.
Whether you're the best volleyball player in the world, the best swimmer, track athlete, whatever, or the worst on the U.S. team, you're the last place guy. You're still a dude or a gal in Olympic Village, hanging out with other people.
What's crazy about the Olympic Village is that you are surrounded by literally the best athletes from everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And so it's very humbling.
Oh, I can imagine.
It's also really exciting.
Yeah.
You get to do a little bit of, really? Is that who I think it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is. It's an awe-inspiring. The Olympic Village is something in itself. It's an entire city inside designed just for the Olympics to move within a safe space.
Yeah.
There's, gaming areas, food 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, any type of food you can imagine. They have a various selection, so it fits all the needs and the requirements of the athletes in their countries, or religious aspects.
Yeah.
Weight rooms, TV theaters, like anything that you can imagine, that athletes don't need to go outside that center to be entertained.
Yeah.
So they can keep them safe.
Which is very important.
It is. It's something that continues to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No question. This is Schuck on the Truck, brought to you by Caren Kemner Toyota. I'm Muddy River Sports Editor Matt Schuckman, hanging out on the tailgate of the pickup with three-time Olympian Caren Kemner, Quincy native, now working at Quincy University.
I am.
I don't know if I even know what your title is. Like, you're in administration here at Q. I haven't coached volleyball here at Quincy University.
Yep.
You've now transitioned into a more administrative role.
Correct. This past summer, believe it or not, I don't know if you heard this, I graduated.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It took me 41 years.
Well, you know.
It was a long race, but it was steady.
Hey, you got it done.
So I graduated from QU this past summer, and with that, Josh just kind of asked me if I was ready for a new role. And I'm in charge of external operations, so game day events.
Yeah.
Basically. And Carla Piscini, my predecessor, left literally a Bible, like the most amazing footwork to follow.
Good.
So my job is not to screw that up.
Yeah.
And just keep building on it and try to create an atmosphere not only for our student athlete and coaches, but create this wonderful atmosphere for the folks who come out and support us and want to partake.
Well, and I think we've seen that the last few years of changes within the structure of Quincy University, whether it's changes within Pepsi Arena, the physical changes, or things that have gone on at QU Stadium or North Campus or any of the facilities, as well as the coaching changes and the administrative changes. I think everything's pushing forward. Everything's on an upward trajectory. If I'm
I agree.
correct.
I came in, this will be my fourth year here at QU. In my first year, there was quite a changeover. I came in at the same time as Josh, basically, when he came into his role. And I think he's made some masterful changes. And I think we're all going to reap those rewards. It's just going to take time. No matter if you've been in a sport your entire life, it's a new environment. You're coaching a different style of kid. You're at a different institution.
Right.
It just takes a little bit to get all those wheels going in the same direction on the truck.
And the thing is, you're not coaching anymore as far as the day-to-day coaching of volleyball, but you're still coaching because you're leading people. You're leading. You're going to have to help people on game day. Here, you got to go here. You got to do this. We got to get this done. Okay, it's going to take all three of us to get the. You're still coaching in a way, in a sense.
In a leadership way, that makes a lot of sense. I think what's more exciting for me, and like I said, I whispered on the phone to you the other day, that I still get to be around the athletes and the coaches, and that's one thing I just never wanted to step away from sports as a whole. I don't think it's physically possible for me.
Right.
But in this role, it just allows me to have a little bit more freedom with coaches and make sure that they're supported in anything that they need for their program and for them to be successful.
And there's just something about being around college athletes because it's different. They're working towards something. They're fighting for something. They want to be here. They want to do this, and the effort they put in. Unless you've been around them and been in the trenches with them and spent time with them, I don't think everybody realizes the effort that goes into being a college athlete.
Correct.
Get student athlete, because you can't forget the student part of it.
No, it's a huge part of it. Like I said, it took me 41 years, but that was all a hopscotching.
Yeah.
But it is something that athletics has definitely become a bigger part of our livelihood, our fabric.
Yeah.
Much more. With the transition of more and more professional female sports coming on, just the growth of it, like every kid in America, most kids, every kid's a very generic way of putting it, have some association to sports. And so that thread just keeps continuing to build all the way into college with the hopes of post-college aspirations.
Correct.
Which we know are the 1%ers.
Yeah.
So it's really important that academics is equally prioritized and has the same march toward success as kids put into athletics. Like I read something recently and it said excellence waits for no one. And I thought, you know what? That is so true. Because so many kids, in my book, kind of like, well, when's it going to happen for me?
Yeah.
You have to make it happen. And that infers to all quadrants of your life.
No question.
Not just one.
Yes.
And I think that's where the learning kid curve still is existing within athletics, is that it's all aspects deserve the same attention.
Good point.
I try.
All right, so we're not too far off from having athletes back on campus. I know there's a few here and there working out during the summer, but we're not too far off from the fall athletes starting their training camps. And
correct.
Just a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to this fall? And I don't mean specific like this team or something, but what excites you about QU athletics as we head into the fall?
I think I'm really excited for Jason Kilday in the football program. Yeah. He has been just a joy to get to know. He's such a nice person. I'm happy that I've met his wife when I was previously here at QU. Yeah. She was athletic trainer, so there's that wonderful connection. But I just, I want to see him get off this first year and really put his name, his footprint, his stamp on what this program's going to look like moving forward. I'm excited for soccer. Again, we're just going to keep building on things. And then, if I look into the winter season, I can't help but be excited for Courtney and Brad.
No question.
And I think Courtney was an amazing hire last year. I really have just so much enjoyed getting to know her and seeing her connection with the kids and her coaching ability. And Brad, he's just awesome to have on the floor.
He's something.
Yeah, he's so down to earth, and I have such a great appreciation for it. And I think that's going to help him even have a greater connection with his athletes.
Well, you've got connections to our region with those coaches, and the ones you mentioned, and beyond that. You look at your entire coaching staff, but you've got Brad, who Quincy Notre Dame graduate, Courtney Boyd from Southeast Iowa, Jason Kilday from Winchester, Mike Carpenter, Quincy Notre Dame grad, Matt Shizzle from the Quad Cities. You go up and down the line, and you've got a lot of connections to not only Quincy University, but the region. Yeah. And that draws fan interest, that draws community interest. And I think the one thing I've noticed in recent years, and I think will really continue with the coaches that have been brought in, is the community involvement. Going and reading the classes, going and taking part in community events, getting out in the community, not just expecting the community to show up to the arena or the field.
Yeah. It's a hard balance as a coach because you want to do both.
Yeah.
It just feels like you never have enough time in your day.
True.
Because your one priority is to make sure that you're constantly recruiting and putting your best picture on the floor when you get that opportunity on the field.
Yeah.
So you almost, as a coach, you feel like you never have enough time to do all the things that you want.
Yeah, makes sense.
And you and I know that, winning leads to popularity.
Oh, no question.
But
winning puts butts in the seats.
It does, but QU has a tremendous faithful following.
No question.
That have been like the lifeboat in some ways as we go through these changes.
No doubt. And
so hopefully they come back with the same excitement that I have going into Saturday is the same excitement they feel coming into this year.
Yeah. Should be good. Should be real good.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are officially now working alongside Josh. I know you were as a coach and everything. If he gets a little lippy, do you just remind him, you played in the major leagues. I was the #1 volleyball player in the world.
No, actually, he and I get along really well. His stories, we do sit down sometimes and share stories, and I'm like, man, boy, my life was different than yours. Yeah. But honestly, we get along great, and I think I think part of that is we're both very direct.
Yeah.
We don't really sugarcoat it, and I respect that from him. I know that he's had a tremendous career, and the fact that he, again, came from this area.
No question. Big deal.
We have a lot of similarities when it comes to the experiences we've shared, just in a different timeline in life.
Yeah.
And mine was a little bit more on the worldly aspect, but always representing this country. And he had the opportunity to play so much of his career in this country.
Right.
Like I said, it leads to different experiences, lots of different stories. But I really enjoy working with Josh. I think he's a very strong leader. And
the neat thing for me to see it from the outside, and having known both of you for so long, is you both remain grounded. You both remain from this dirt, from this, that aspect, the hard work aspect, what it takes to achieve this, that we're all taught, we hope most of us are taught growing up, certainly in this community, has never changed for either of you, no matter what you've gone on and done.
No, not at all. It's kind of comical. Sometimes we tell stories, and I think about Josh is an only child, and I'm definitely not the youngest of 5.
Right.
But as I came along, I turned into more of an only child because my siblings grew up and moved on.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. So a lot of it was, I don't think people understand how much self-motivation it takes. Nobody is going to make you great. It's something that is just an internal drive, and there's no doubt that Josh has it, and I think he has it within his role here.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that, my stepping in the new role, will lead to some assistance for him, as well as Carla's phenomenal at her role.
And she'll be back in a different role.
Yep.
So her role has changed.
But she's in such good contact with everybody.
Yeah.
So I think we have a nice little pool there at the,
I do too.
That's going to make some big differences, and our coaches are going to feel that support in the direction that they need, as well as our student athletes.
Yeah, and it won't be long. Student athletes will be here.
Right around the corner.
And they'll need some direction.
Yeah. And so will the heat, I hear. The heat's coming back.
I'm sure.
So it wouldn't be the start of school.
It always does.
Yep.
August hits, and it's like, oh, great, we're going to have a few nice days. Oh, no, you're not. Here comes
Slam.
Here comes the sun and the humidity, and while the football players are dying on the field, I take a couple photos and then get back in the truck. Okay, so we're obviously a couple days away from the Olympics. Opening ceremonies will be televised Friday night. What, outside of volleyball, I know you'll pay attention to volleyball, very much so. What do you look forward to? Is there an event, a sport, or something that you just sit there and go, I gotta watch that no matter when it's on?
I don't know if there's one where I just have to watch it no matter what. Like, I'm kind of intrigued by all the sports. And of course, even with the Olympics, you still have your primary sports that kind of get pushed to the top. Like, I enjoy seeing the gymnastics. I enjoy seeing swimming. Soccer, I think women's soccer is going to do phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I hope I do a good job at this, is picking up different sports that I never had the opportunity to witness or learn about.
Cool.
But obviously I didn't have that opportunity as an Olympian. So now when I sit back home, it's like, oh, this is on. Like, maybe it's fencing, who knows?
Yeah.
There's so many different sports. I believe break dancing is in this year, or ballroom dancing.
Ballroom dancing, I think. So I don't know.
I may not be watching that.
Yeah.
But that's okay,
You can't watch every single minute of every single thing.
No.
But there's also sports that intrigue, like for me, on the summer scale, water polo. I could sit and watch water polo all the time. I don't know why. I can't tell you.
I like it, but I don't understand all the whistles.
I don't either. I don't understand all the rules. But I'm intrigued by it. I want to,
And that's what the Olympics does. It really puts this whole salad bowl of opportunity for you to sit and watch different sports that you may never have thought of.
Yeah.
That just kind of tweak your interest.
Yeah.
It'll definitely be sports that we have nothing in our surrounding communities.
True.
Some sports are just minor in the United States, but those athletes are there representing their country to the best of their ability. So it's kind of, it goes in waves as I watch the Olympics. Obviously the opening ceremonies and the kickoff. Of course, I'll be watching volleyball. But as it rolls through, there's some sports that are done within the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
Volleyball is one of those sports that goes all the way until the last day.
Right.
So you got to kind of watch that pattern. Like, swimming takes place right out of the gate, and then they're done.
Yeah.
And
tracks later on.
Correct. And then gymnastics comes. So they try to space it out where you have the opportunity to watch a lot of different things. But there's a ton of sports.
I know I'll try to watch as much as I possibly can.
Good.
We're going to be out of town for a few days there early August, but I already told my wife that, okay, when we stop and have a break and spend the night in a hotel, I'm probably going to put the Olympics on the TV in the hotel.
I hope you do.
Well, I would.
I'm going to try to figure out a way to get it into my office. But I won't get anything done if I do that. But no.
That's okay. You've got the blueprint. You're ahead of the game.
Yeah, I'm ahead of the game.
And then you fall by.
I just can't mess it up.
You won't. I'm really looking forward to this fall. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to do more with you, work more with you. And
just let me know what you need.
It'll be a blast. And thank you for taking the time to do this.
I'm excited. This is the first time I ever got to do it.
There you go.
It's pretty cool.
We'll do it again.
All right.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much, Caren.
You're welcome.
For Caren Kemner, I'm Matt Schuckman. This has been another episode of Schuck on a Truck.
Muddy River Sports. Our home, our sports.